All right. Okay. We've got one person online. I'm pretty sure it's my brother, but there he goes. He's only here for you and not me. I know it.
Yeah.
He says, "Go Vikings." Wrong show, but keep us posted on the score because I'm not where I can see my TV.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully the Vikings pull this one out. On who? I'm not sure what he's. T Hink. T Hink's a regular poster here, and he likes to come on here and leave some comments once in a while. We always appreciate his input. Okay. First of all, before we get started talking about the Nebraska Indiana game, we won't spend a lot of time on them because my memory's quickly fading. But and then I want to look ahead to UCLA and USC and UCLA. Okay, and so, but I do want to point out that Peyton Stanford, for his great effort this week, is co-Big Ten Player of the Week. So, after we dissed him and dumped on him and crabbed at him, his last two games were, he did all right. He earned Player of the Week, at least co-Player of the Week. So I wanted to put that out there. So thank you, Peyton, for finally being Peyton. And we need you to be Peyton the rest of the year. The other thing I want to bring up is kind of a downer, but I just couldn't do this show tonight without bringing it up. Caitlin Clark and the stalker that got arrested, I think today or yesterday, for stalking her. I don't know how many people have actually need to split two games this week. Yeah, we're going to get there. I'm going to leave that up there so we can talk about that. But Caitlin Clark had a stalker from Texas send violently sexually threatening messages to her on X. And how he found her actual X account, I don't know, because I've never been able to find that.
Stuff being famous, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, he took a trip from Denton, Texas, up to Indianapolis and drove around Cambridge arena twice or three times and said that he was going to find her. He was there. I drove around your house three times, which he meant Cambridge, not her actual house. And that he was going to buy a ticket and get into and sit behind the bench. And so if you guys saw a game earlier this week that she was at Butler, you can tell that she was covering herself and bending down. But I guess if the TV cameras had known what was going on, they wouldn't have pointed her out in the audience.
Yeah.
But anyway, that guy could get 6 years for that. And so I just wanted to point that out, how sad that is, that she can't even be safe in her own environment. Okay. You were at both games. Let's start talking about that. Well, let me get this real quick. T Hink, I'm about a 90-minute drive from the nearest fires. The ones threatening the Rose Bowl. I'm about a 90-minute drive from there. So, and I'm also about a 90-minute drive from UCLA. The Rose Bowl and UCLA are about as far apart in Los Angeles as you could get.
More importantly, are you upwind?
I am not.
Ooh, okay.
You know what it would? Do you know what it would take for the fires that are going there to come to Bakersfield?
Yeah,
we'd have to burn down a whole lot of acres to get to me. We're safe unless something happens and the orchard around me starts burning down. Then I'll be in trouble because we're completely surrounded in all directions of orchards out in the country. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, yes, that's where I'm at. Thank you. You figured it out. Okay. So, you were at both games. I want your take. Let's go right back to the Nebraska game first, the overtime win. You were in the stands. You saw some things that you went and looked at later on TV. And by the way, I taped the UCLA Iowa football game with the intention of going back and watching what it looked like on TV compared to live in person, but I couldn't bring myself to watch that. But anyway, let's get back to what you saw at the Nebraska game and what led to overtime and everything.
Well, as usual, you go back and forth a little bit. and then it pretty much went back for a long stretch. It was just that game was punctuated by the fact that Drew Thelwell could not play.
Mhm.
And we were sitting there like, what the hell? Why is he not in the game? I don't, and found out later that possibly hurt his heel in practice. And then it was kind of a game time decision, and just couldn't do it. And the warm ups went out, kind of hurt it again. It's like, ah, geez. But our offense needed him very badly in a couple of spots where things just went and just stayed there for a while and let them, do what were we? We're like, I don't know. I'm just doing this from memory. We're like 7 or 8 up, and we went to 7 or 8 down, just like wham, because we just quit scoring. And, it was always kind of a wrestling match out there for the most part. Those guys are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Thought they were going to own the boards on us, but by the time we got done, it was doing better. But it was definitely a tale of two halves. And even, we didn't even start really coming back till we were about halfway through the fourth quarter too. But there were a lot of times where jump forward to the Indiana game where we needed Drew Thelwell to just like, okay, things are going sideways. Just get out of his way
And let him do his thing
to the basket, because he's very good at that little hook running along there that, you can't stop that if you don't have somebody out double teaming him.
Yeah.
And
let me stop you right there. I just want to ask you a question about Thelwell. Now that he's in the starting lineup, and so he's basically replacing Perkins from last year, do you think that this was a better choice than Perkins, or about even, or in your opinion? Because I know that you probably went to the games last year too, and and watched Perkins last year too do his thing.
Yeah, I actually he came to one of our Miracle League games and buddied, so got to talk to him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tony's was a different type of player. He wasn't just the really quick stay in front of you. He was one of those guys that could drive into the middle and pull up right now and shoot the little 10-foot jumper pretty consistently. He was a handful when he was doing that. And he's a wider body, so he was getting more rebounds, could take getting bounced around a little bit more. Thelwell, I think, is actually quicker and probably seems to me like he sees the whole game a little bit more than Tony did. Tony was a good player. It took him a couple of years to get there, but by the time you could see it at the end of his junior year and his senior year he was much better, much better. You can
I believe he came in with the class with the Murray twins and the current guy on the team, the center that never gets to play, the 7-footer, the skinny kid, Riley McCulvey.
Mulvey, yeah.
So Mulvey, yeah. And so back when they first got recruited and they just committed and signed with Iowa, I can't remember. There was one. He's at Nebraska now. The other one that signed with that class. I did a report on them because everybody was so down on Fran for the class that he recruited. I did an article for 247 Hawkeye, which is a former podcast I was on at one time with Nolan Hawkeye Anthony. Some of you guys know who he was about 3 or 4 years ago. But I did the article for his website, and I actually went back and read up on the scouting reports, watched some clips of those guys, and said, I don't know why the fans are upset. These guys are going to give us something. They're going to be better than we think they are. Ulis was, he didn't pan out the way we'd hope. Mulvey, I think if he's given the chance, he would produce, because every time he's been on the floor, he's been a production machine. I just don't know what Fran has against him, not using him, because I'd rather see him out there than Dembele. But the Murray twins I predicted would do what they did, and I feel good about that. But anyway, I want you to go back to your story. I'm sorry to
The Murray
interrupt you.
twins were built like NBA players. I mean, they were just long and quick, and yeah, they they were going to be short timers. You could tell that coming in.
Yeah.
Mulvey to me has always seemed a little lost defensively out there when he's out there.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's good in a pinch, but Dembele's, I think, a better athlete. Just
Okay.
moving around, playing a little better defense. But yeah,
Well, I was
we gotta
glad
take
though
our
that they moved him
mind
back to
where
the
we-
bench and took him out of the starting lineup because honestly, I just don't like him in the starting lineup. I mean, he gets his playing minutes and stuff, but we're doing so much better with Thelwell and Sidori. What's the story with him? We don't seem to get a lot of minutes for him. I think he didn't get many
Sadie
minutes
was
in
hurt
either game.
for a while, and he seems very athletic, but he's still younger. I mean, with Thelwell, you got somebody that's played a ton of games
Mhm.
and a ton of minutes and has really got it going on between the ears now.
Mhm.
And Seydu's a good athlete, but he still looks like he's a little lost out there at times.
Well, isn't he a transfer portal people too, or do I have him mixed up with somebody else?
Yeah, he is, but he's still a sophomore.
Okay, all righty.
Where Thelwell is a fifth-year grad student, COVID baby kind of thing.
Okay,
So,
all right.
I'm
liking Thelwell. I'm really liking what I like. He can drive to the hoop and lay it in, and it's just like when he starts coming up the middle of that lane, everybody get out of the way. Let him do his thing.
I've seen him, and our seats sit a little off center from behind a basket, and you can see him when he gets down going to the other end, and the other four will just go out there and take their defenders with them because they know if nobody closes on him fast enough, he's going to make that little weird little hook layup thing that they do near the basket that it's impossible to stop one-on-one. Even if you're in front of the guy, if he doesn't get around the guy can't stop him. So
So you were actually probably sitting. The picture you sent me the other night, was that last night, yesterday? Probably was.
Yeah, that was the Nebraska,
the Indiana game. Yeah, those are exactly in the same area seating that I always get every time I go. That's just what they give me when I go in and want to buy, because I buy them on the spur of the moment.
Yeah, there's always our section can get a little sparse sometimes. One of the preseason games, they come out with a t-shirt cannon, right?
Yeah.
Shoot that puppy out over there. And it's always like way the hell over my head. And one of the early games, they came out and I looked behind me and I was the last person in the section.
Would you run out and get it?
14th row. There's nobody behind me. So I got up, I ran up like 10 rows. I sat there, waved my hands at the guy, and he shot it right to me. And I was like, I'm out there by myself. But that's, yeah. I saw online somebody, I don't know, God, if this was Facebook or something, where somebody was, the crowd was really great at the Indiana game or something. And I'm like, still, it's all pretty relative, because back in the day, you couldn't wedge yourself into Carver.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't.
Now, when it's about 3/4 full, wow, that's a good crowd.
Yeah, I've been to more games since the Licklider years because of the apathy on the Iowa.
Well,
with the Licklider years, I went to a lot of games with my grandson because they were like $5 tickets.
Me and 500 of my closest friends were the only ones that went to those games.
I agree.
Yeah, Alford actually opened it up, though, because I when we moved back from Wisconsin, I was like, man, I'd love to go to the games, but geez, you can't get into Carver. We've been gone for 10 years. I don't have any priorities. Didn't even try. And then the second we were here, Alfred got on the radio and said, hey, buy some tickets. I'm like, what? And so, yeah, I got season tickets then and hung in there ever since. So,
yeah. So is that your season ticket spot where you're at?
Oh, yeah.
You got to get a donation to get a better seat, or do you like your seats?
I don't even want a better seat because the guy that sits in front of me is a guy from Cedar Rapids, and he's just the W guy. All right, because he sits in the W section at the football games, and he sits in the W section at the basketball games, and he's got his W on his T-shirt, and he comes out when they come down and do the IOWA, he is all over it. And when the opponents are shooting free throws down at our end, especially the beginning games where there's hardly anybody there and he can be quiet, he will yell the stupidest crap.
I'm gonna listen for that for next game.
Oh my God. Well, you don't really hear him. I've tried to hear him on the thing, but normally it's noisy enough in there. But you can always tell the rookies that are in our section because he will stand up and he'll say, hey, number 11, ring a ding. It's your mother on the phone. Don't you love your mother? Answer the phone.
That sounds like a guy who's having a lot of fun at the game.
Oh my God, he is so funny. And you will just see people go, what? You know, they turn around, look like, boy, who's this nut job? And I'm just sitting behind him laughing.
Yeah.
And we had
but at least you're on the end where Iowa always has that end to shoot at the end of the game.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's always nice because you got them right there coming at you at the end of the game.
Yeah, and
or the second half, I should say.
He's a good landmark when people ask where do you sit, and I say I sit right behind W. And everybody knows that half of the arena, they know exactly where I'm sitting. I mean, you know, we had some of the players come and buddy at our Miracle League game, which is a kids with disabilities baseball league we run on the summer. And so I'd talk to these guys. It's like, well, I sit behind W. And they're like, huh? It's like, oh, wait, the W guy. Oh, yeah, the W guy. I mean, the cheerleaders and the team, everybody knows him. He's a little local celeb on that end of the floor.
So is he getting as much celebrity status as, hey, Hawkeye Elvis?
Well, Hawkeye Elvis was at the Saturday game. He was sitting down there, but George, the W guy, he's at every game. In fact, I did a tweet or Instagram post the first game because his seat was empty. So I stuck my feet up on top of his chair and took a picture of my feet sitting there. It was like, where's W? You know, I put that out on Facebook. Somebody still liked that like a day ago, right? That was like from the exhibition game because he always forgets that the exhibition game's even going on.
Yeah. Well, at the UCLA Iowa football game, I wanted to find. I hit every tailgate that I could find for Iowa, and they're all in one location. So, trying to find Hawkeye Elvis, I swear he was going to be in one of those spots, right? I couldn't find him, so I just got on there and Facebook messaging him. No, I'm sorry, Instagram messaged him in private, and I said, "Hey, Hawkeye, where are you? I want to get a picture with you." And he said, then he wrote back after the game, "Hey, I just saw this another time." So we'll go.
Well, we went up to a buddy of mine, guy that works with Jordy's Bohannon's dad. We got tickets to go to the Minneapolis or the Minnesota game.
Well, he also works with Jordy Bohannon then if he works with the dad.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there, you know, there's a few Iowa fans gathered over in the corner, and I'm talking to this guy. He's like, man, he looks familiar. And then finally somebody mentions, oh, that's Hawkeye Elvis. But he wasn't in his garb.
Oh, he wasn't?
Right?
Okay.
He wasn't, but he lives in Minneapolis.
Yeah, yes, he does.
That's why you don't see him in every game because he's got it. Normally, you see him on the weekend games. Sometimes he'll come down. Mm-hmm. But it's like, that's why I know you without the hair.
Yeah, I've seen pictures with him out his garb on, so I know what he looks like when I see him. I hope I didn't overlook him and he wasn't in his gear when I saw him. But,
yeah,
but
you might have met a guy I know that lives out in. Well, he lives in Arizona, but he went to UCLA. Mm-hmm. He's in our fraternity, and I kind of knew him through that. And and he was at the UCLA game, and he didn't know who to cheer for because he'd been at both schools.
My women's basketball expert, Molly Tideback, played for both UCLA and Iowa. So she roots for Iowa first and UCLA second. So
yeah,
it's going to be a rough week for her when they play UCLA.
Oh, and
when they do play UCLA, I mean.
So here's another one. We're talking about split alliances.
Mm-hmm.
They had the alumni game. The Letterman game was the Indiana game. So at halftime, they were in a line of these guys from basket to basket of all the players over the years. And
yeah, that was this week, right?
That was Saturday's game.
I wish they would tape that or clip it and put it out there for people to see. Anyway, go ahead.
So what's amazing is that one row up and one section over to the left, Luke Recker sits right in front of my wife's childhood neighbors down, so they're
if Luke Recker's sitting in front of anybody you can't see.
Well, yeah, and the neighbors is short little, but they have the Letterman go out there, and I look over there and he's sitting there. He didn't go to all the games, but he goes to a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So there's obviously his season tickets over there.
Right.
He was sitting there. I'm like,
why isn't he down with alumni, right?
Why aren't you out there? And I'm thinking, the only thing I can think of is that, he started at Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And then transferred to Iowa because, there was a whole girlfriend in a car wreck kind of weird thing going on. And then he got another girlfriend. She came to Iowa. He came over here. So the only thing I can think is he's staying off the floor so the few Indiana fans over there don't start throwing crap at him or something.
That could be. Who were some of the alumni that were there? I'm curious as who showed up.
Oh, my favorite is Tree Rollins. Mike,
he was there.
Mike,
okay. Mike Tree.
The Tree. Yeah,
the Tree. Yeah, tall, skinny guy.
Oh,
back from Lute Olson Day, right?
Yeah, and I bumped into him in town last time they had one of these things. Bumped into him and Vince Brookins and BF Burt. You know who he is? Not a football or not a basketball guy, but he's a local musician that's really good, but he's from Waterloo. Mm-hmm. So, but I saw BF Burt. It was like Kevin Burr is like, I know him pretty well. So all of a sudden, he's talking to Vince Brook and Tree Rollins. I had to go up there.
Hey, I got a Kent McCausland story for you from the football game at UCLA. Okay, I just seen Kent McCausland on a BTN Plus a week earlier on a basketball game. And he was sitting off to the side, and they said they would interview him later, but they were interviewing somebody else. I can't remember who, but we said, we'll get you at another time. But he was sitting there with this bright yellow Hawkeye jacket, right? Okay. I had no idea how tall this guy was until I hit one of the tailgates, and I come standing next to this guy, and I look at the jacket and I look at him up in the sky, and I'm going, his name, I couldn't remember his name at the time. I go, he's a Hawkeye basketball player, but I don't want to say anything to him until I know his name. And so all I could say to him was, nice hat, nice jacket. And he goes, thanks, guy. And so later, I went over with my son-in-law, and we were starting to walk away. I know who he is now. I got to go find him and get a picture with him. It's Kent McCausland. I know who that is. So I run over. I can't find him anywhere. He had already left.
So I don't know. Can we see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
All right. So that's Freeman and Thelwell at our Miracle League games.
Is that you in the middle?
That's me in the middle for just a scale. I had Patrick McCaffrey, Peyton Sanford, and Tony Perkins there the year before. And that was just, I brought that home and showed my wife the pictures. Like, you're photoshopped in that. Even your head's smaller than these guys. It was they are very large people, very tall, but kids love them. That's
Jacob Jacks was there too. I remember he posted some. I follow him, I think, on Instagram, and I think he posted a video or a photo that he was there.
Yeah, Peter Jock, obviously Bobby Hansen, because he does radio.
But did he come out at halftime and do something?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He takes the headset out, comes out with the guys.
How about Mark Gannon, his old running mate?
He was there. Yeah, he was there. And then
Jeff Horner, probably not because he's
Horner was not there. Mike Gazelle was there.
Yes, I saw Mike Gazelle. I saw another video clip of him.
Nicholas Bear, Looking Bill. Jeez, there's so many of them, and most of them I knew. Some of them were kind of, if they went through in the 90s when we lived up in Wisconsin, I wasn't able to stay as tuned in because,
Kelvin says he golfed with Jacob. How tall were you to him? Just out of curiosity, Kelvin, where did you come up on him? Because I probably would come up to probably his chest.
It's amazing. And we had some of these kids, Owen Freeman was pitching, and you're playing with a squishy practice softball, and Owen was pitching to these kids, and a lot of times you have to get pretty close to get them. And his kids were just drilling, he'd just be catching these things. And his dad came to the game with him. And I made a comment to his dad's like, yeah, he's probably okay. He's going to get worse from the elbows in the Big Ten. Like, yeah.
Kelvin says he's 13 inches taller. Kelvin's 5. Kelvin, I'm only 5'5", so even you would tower over me.
Yeah, so I'm 5'9", so you can tell the difference between that.
Yeah.
And the hat doesn't add much.
I feel like I was like 5'8" in high school, but I feel like I've just kind of shrunk and my bones are condensed, and I kind of come down to 5'5".
See, I haven't measured myself lately, so I still am in my head thinking I'm 5'9".
Yeah, I remember a doctor asked me how tall he thought I was, and I go, I thought I was 5'8" in high school, but I'm probably like 5'7" now for shrinkage. He goes, you're not even close.
No, but
everybody now says I was exaggerating at one time.
That was fun getting the Letterman out there because, and the fact that, at that point, we were ahead of Indiana, but it wasn't insanely ahead. I mean, it was still a game at halftime, even though we came out, we handled their big guys.
Didn't they come out and get a little bit of a lead on us?
So we don't have a lot of height, and we've been getting out rebounded by guys. But
yeah, we out rebounded them this game, though.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah. First time all year, I was told. The announcer said first time all year.
That big guy that they had, you get the ball back here and somebody behind him and steal it. Noel jumped up there and got it once, and I think it just kind of threw him off, and he didn't.
What did you think of that post player that they had that had all these accolades coming in? I believe he was a transfer in. He didn't impress me from what I saw on TV. I go, this is the guy we're supposed to be scared of?
Yeah. Well, and I got a guy that I used to work with that used to be in our Louisville office. So he lives in Southern Indiana, and he's an Indiana fan. Every once in a while, he'd come up. I'd take him to a game. I took him to a Hoosier game once. I think he was up here for that. And so we were just texting, at timeouts, and he was pretty much done. By the time we got in the second half, he's like, we're just, this game just has to get over. He'd given up on us.
Yeah. Well, we won that Indiana game by 25 points, but I think everybody would agree the game wasn't even that close. And I kept thinking, I don't want this team to get 60 points on us. So what we do, we go ahead and just dribble out the clock and take the thing, and we go down and let them score to get them to 60. And I'm going, come on, guys, have some pride in yourselves. Say we want to keep the team under 60. Let's just shoot it, and not
that actually got some boos out of the crowd. That guy would go down there and just do that. It's like, come on, man. We turn around, hand you the ball. Just sit on it. This game needs to be over.
No, they didn't want to be held under 60 either.
Well, and that's it. Oh, and the other thing, and this has happened. Oh God, I don't even remember which game it was, but somebody, I don't know if it was McCaffrey, was just dribbling it out the game at the end. You're just running the clock down, just letting it go. And then I can't even remember who he did this to, but you've got a rookie, a freshman on the team, and McCaffrey dribbles over to him, hands him the ball,
And if
like
the rookie shoots
2 seconds before, so that kid gets the turnover when
oh
because you turn it over, right? So it's like
okay.
Marty,
My brother
Marty
says
obviously
that
didn't know that.
yeah. My brother says he talked to your mom at halftime. She was very excited about her game. She loves her Iowa basketball. So I'm going to guess you got your love from Iowa basketball from your mother.
Yeah, and the fact that Dad took me to games when I was in junior high. He managed to get a hold of some tickets and stuff. So yeah, I think mom likes the women because it's a little slower game. She keep track of it. She's like, these guys are moving so fast, I can't keep track of it.
I don't know. Up until this year, I thought Lisa Bluter's team moved really quick and down the field and scored quickly.
Yeah,
So, they're not doing that this year, but in the past they've been a running team. And but hey, you can't run if the other team is scoring at a 50% clip, like it happened to them this week.
Yeah. Well, and you gotta realize, mom's basketball. You go back to Lute Olson and even Ralph Miller before that in the late 60s, early 70s, where you get ahead and then you just go to the four corners offense and you just stall. That's
I remember one Lute Olson game. I think it was
there.
Illinois. He decided to go in the four corners with about 10 minutes to play. Lute, what are you doing? But that was before the shot clock, and you know how much they ran a lot of time off the clock because Illinois wasn't even trying to get the ball.
Yeah,
and you didn't have to shoot.
And then you get I think Bobby was in this game. Yeah, it must have been the Final Four team that we had where Michigan State came in and stalled the entire first half. It was 8-6 at halftime. And
I remember that. I remember that. They had Magic on that team, right?
Was that? I don't.
You said Final Four team, so that Magic was on.
No,
or was he gone? Or was he
final.
Gone the year before that? Maybe he was gone the year before that.
Yeah. No, this would have been. Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time. I just remember he didn't have the horses to keep up with us, and so he just decided to and then it ended up, I think it was an overtime game or something, but it was just like I was sitting behind the rail, I was chewing on it. I was like, come on, you crap, just play the damn game. 8-6. I think
I don't know. Was there got to be a lot of booze going on?
2 minutes in the first half. I think we possessed the ball because we'd go down, we'd score. All right. And I think we're up 8-6 at halftime. It's like, good God.
Yeah, it was the year after Magic left. I forgot. Magic and Bird went at it in 79 for the NCAA title game. Jay Vincent was on that team. Okay, so we want to talk a little more about the Indiana game, or should we just move on and talk about what's coming up tomorrow night?
I just have to say before we leave Indiana that Thelwell was just inspired in that game, and the guys that were shooting pretty much everything came pretty easy in that game. That was very very unexpected.
Yeah, there you go.
Very unexpected. I wasn't willing to admit that we had this game in the bag until it was probably under 8 minutes and we're up by 30. It's like, we might actually win this. Just...
Oh, I don't know. My wife comes in and she said, how's the game? I go, we're up by 30, about 8-10 minutes to go. And she said, oh, you got this in the bag. I go, no, this is Iowa. We don't have this in the bag.
Yeah, I'm
not going to breathe until about 1 minute left in the game.
I texted my Indiana fan is like, I'm not counting any chickens yet, So,
all right.
So now we go to the West Coast.
Yeah, now we're going over the West Coast. I think these are two winnable games. However, I didn't get to watch the second half of the UCLA Rutgers game tonight. But if anybody out there knows the score of that game, please tell us. But UCLA was leading, but barely leading. They'd get a 1 to 3, 4 point lead. But I just kind of wanted to get a feel for what kind of a team they were.
Both those teams did not impress me as being real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though UCLA's got that, whatever he is, 7'3", 2 or 3, some big guy from Spain, he didn't really play a lot of minutes. I looked at the stats for them and stuff to try to see who's coming, and it's like he's averaging 2 points a game or something. So he's really tall, but I don't know. He just seems a little lost out there in the first half against Rutgers. And Rutgers, all they want to do is shoot threes. They've got
UCLA. Looks like UCLA is going to lose their 4th game in a row. Rutgers up by 4 with a minute to go.
Yeah. And I neither one of them was playing that great. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a winnable game. I don't know if they have another game squeezed in between tonight and Friday night. Probably not, but they got to fly home from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Well, you got USC is up next.
Yeah, yep. And then we got UCLA on Friday. I was just wondering if UCLA had another game
day. I thought it was a Tuesday, Friday.
Yeah, it is. It is. We got UCLA on Friday night.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, you never know with Iowa which team's going to show up. You get the first half team against Nebraska, or do you get the second the team that played Indiana for the shooting lights out? But the one that really gets me is Josh Dix. And I don't know if you get this, and I don't want to jinx him here, but if you get this on television, if you see it as much, but when he's down at the far end of the floor for us and he takes that 3-pointer out of the corner, I swear the ball gets about this far above the basket, the height of the basket, all the way.
Barely clears it.
Boom, nothing but net. I don't know how the hell he does that. There is no arc on that thing. It is just from the corner, just a straight shot.
Is that kind of scary, though, the fact that he has no arc, that he could get that slap back in his face?
Oh, my God. Every time I see him do that, I'm just like, wow, how does that go in without touching the rim?
Yeah.
It's just, but that's.
So UCLA and Rutgers are about to.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Rutgers is about to go 2-4. UCLA is about to go 2-4. They will drop behind USC and Ohio State in the standings, and that will put them in 14th place. Iowa, in case you're wondering, is in 9th place in the league right now. Which, if the Iowa finished in 9th place in the league, I'd be tickled with what they've got this year.
They are just. I think they're starting to learn that defense is your friend. This is a better defensive team that I've seen out there for quite a while.
I think the addition of Noah really helped.
Points, but there's a fair number of players that, even running through the rotation, we don't have that lost soul out there playing defense that's not getting it, and suddenly everything crumbles. I mean, you gotta have 5 guys tuned in, because 4 doing their job always leaves that 5th guy letting that guy get a layup.
Yeah. In case you're wondering, Iowa is at 89.6 points a game. I thought they said second or something.
Yeah.
Ranked second among teams, I think.
Yeah.
If somebody can correct me on that, I'd be appreciated of that. They're giving up 76.7 a game. I would like to see that down closer to 6. Thelwell, Dix and Thelwell, super defensive players. Yeah, I think Fran is not only finding shooters now, but he's also finding those shooters that can shoot, that can play defense, because it's like he always wanted shooters, and the thing is why can't you have both? Why can't your shooters be defenders?
And Dix kind of reminds me of Kevin Boyle, because when they were playing, whoever's coming in, their best scorer always got Kevin Boyle on him, and it was a rare occurrence that guy ever hit his average playing against us. And I think Dix is kind of cut from the same bolt. He is I've seen him play guys that are bigger, but he just, he's quick enough on his feet. He can stay in front of guys. And Thelwell's quick, and Harding's very just kind of bouncy, hectic, just running around being an issue. But but I would definitely say Dix and Thelwell are two defenders that you could really kind of count on when it was just mano on mano.
Yeah. What do you think about Freeman's season? Did you expect more out of him, or about what we're getting out of him? Because I was kind of hoping coming into his sophomore year, he would be more dominant than he is.
I'm just glad that he's figured out how to stay in the game.
Yeah, he's not as bad as foul this year as he was last year.
Yeah, his freshman year, he'd go out there and, pull off a couple of stupid fouls, and then his butt's on the bench. And even though he's good, and Brock and him have always played together, man, when they're in there, they're just tuned into each other. He is, the only thing that I'm frustrated with him a little bit on is that it seems like all the little chippy shots right there, he has trouble to get those things to go in. I mean, he's right there, he bump around a little bit. And so, but he's
sometimes what somebody, not just him, but everybody, why can't they just lay it in nicely? Why do they have to kind of go and scoop underneath and try to loop it behind from the basket and do it that way?
They're trying not to have it get blocked. Some of the shorter guys got to use that basket to keep those big guys off them. But Freeman is just like right there. And what the hell? Even Sanford airballed a 1-footer. I mean, just straight up in the air.
Because I think what they're doing is
straight up and straight down.
They're trying to get it up quickly, and they're trying to draw a foul. I don't think they really care if they actually score it. But if they don't get the foul and you don't score it, you got nothing out of that possession.
Yeah. And some of it might be anticipating contact and stuff, but it's still just so many times this year the ball get up there, roll around, and go off the other side. It's like So.
Yeah. Do you think we get to keep Dix and Freeman? Kelvin brings up that he hopes we get some money to keep them, that they might be enticed to go with some big money.
Yeah. Who knows nowadays? I mean, they're both kind of Iowa kids, even though they're kind of not.
Right? One's Quad Cities. I don't know where Dix is from.
Dix is from like Sioux City area up there, so I don't know.
Okay, so they're all both borderline kids.
Yeah, they're both borderline kids. So, does the lure of money take them away? I look at it as like, some of them are getting paid more in college.
Freeman's going to go down to the NBA, whether he goes this year or next year. Honestly, I think he should come back to Iowa, have a huge year next year, and then he can do his NBA. But I would expect him to test the waters this year, just like Keegan did after his sophomore year.
Yeah.
And then come back his junior year and then say adios.
Yeah.
But you were talking about Freeman staying in the game on fouling. Keegan, his freshman year, had the exact same issues. He could not figure out how to stay in a game, if you remember. Yeah. And we all knew that there was something special with that guy at the time.
Oh yeah, man, when he's in, he was in. But he's he would make one or two stupid fouls. I've only seen him really do what the hell was that foul maybe twice this year. So he has managed to rein it in and figured it out.
So anyway, he just says, Kelvin says, hope we, no, wait a minute. Where was that at? Freeman doesn't have the NBA perimeter skills. That's kind of true now. You have to be able, in the new NBA, you kind of have to be able to step outside the 3-point line and shoot. It's not like the old days. Not like the old days.
He's a little quicker than Gar. Well, I'd say faster, just running up and down the floor. Quick. Garza was always, when he gets the ball, he didn't hesitate. He would go. Yeah. And he did get a shot, but it's still, he wasn't built. Those lumbering giants are not really built for the NBA nowadays. It's all
it still irks me when we had Garza on the team. The Murrays were young, Wiseman on the team, Jordan Bohannon on the team, and we couldn't get out of the first round.
Yeah. Well, that's a curse sometimes. You just, you just get there and, well, they got Davis fired, and maybe we need to
Okay, we got to
fire
say this
Fran and
right.
then hire him back every year, and
Yeah.
run him through the tournament, get him in the second weekend.
Yeah, we got to say this correctly, okay? Davis never got fired. He just didn't get his contract renewed.
Didn't get his contract renewed. Yeah. So yeah,
They didn't come out and say you're fired. They just said, "Sorry, Tom, we're going to go a different direction. Thank you for all you've done, getting us to the second weekend of the tournament every year. But we want to go. We want to go to the third weekend now."
Yeah. Yeah, and look at what we got.
Yeah.
Then we didn't even go to the tournament for a while. It's like, well, that worked out really well, didn't it?
Oh, what about the year Alford took us to the tournament? We won the Big Ten title. Oh, the tournament title, and then we get beat like by a New Hampshire type team. I can't remember what it was.
Oh God, it was Northeast Louisiana State. Oh
my God! We had all those guys on the team, and it's like, did taking the run and winning the Big Ten title that year take it out of you? You didn't have anything left for the tournament.
Well, yeah, you consider that we had a 7-game winning streak in the Big Ten tournament because we played 4 games the first year.
I guess we were due to lose one. We weren't going to win them all.
God, so
I still think that team, if they could have got past that first round, we would have made some noise. I think we were seeded second or something like that.
Oh, was it that year?
Third?
Was it
second? It could have been third. We were either seeded like second or third.
Yeah, I think it might have been third
because everybody teased us because we pulled the same thing Iowa State did, getting beat by a 15th or 14th seed in the first game.
And I mean, oh my God. And I'm sitting in a class out in New Jersey at a corporate training thing when that game's going on. So we're supposed to be programming stuff. I've got the one little window running the game down the side, not the video, just the box
ticker. Is that a little ticker type thing?
And a little ticker thing. And so really quiet classroom, and get the thing and fumble the ball and then 3-pointer at the buzzer. And like, oh shit! Just yelled it out in this quiet classroom. Everybody looked at me. He's like, sorry. Oh man. That was double frustrating.
Yeah.
It happens.
All right, let's go take a look at here real quick with the USC. I believe, what did I just say their record was? I mean, they're going to have a game.
Yeah, they're about the same.
They're 2-3, 10-6 overall.
Yeah.
They're on a 1-game winning streak because they beat Illinois. So does that kind of scare you, the fact they went to Illinois and won, and now we got to go back to their home?
Illinois that's amazing. But just looking at their lineup, they don't have any massively tall guys. So it's just a, get in there and muscle around kind of Big Ten game. If we put the correct team on the plane yesterday or today, whenever they flew out, we could be okay. If we go out there and can't throw the ball in the hoop, it's going to be a long trip.
Yeah.
Life on the road has never been that kind to us. And, these are a couple of games that we might, but I don't know. The Big Ten's really, really crazy that way. It's, it just kind of depends on how you match up against somebody. And I know that
we actually
UCLA was pressing UCLA or Rutgers tonight. It seemed like every time pressing them. I'm like, all right, I want to see that. We're gonna run up a lot of points if we break that baby and just fast break them.
We're actually kind of doing very well.
Half-court team.
Yeah. When you compare their leading scores with our leading scores, we pretty much leading them all the way. They go 15.9, 12.4, 10.6, 10.0, 9.7, 8.7. We go where was I at? I just lost that. 16.9, 16.6, 14.6, 10.2, 9.8, 9.3. So those are the first 6 players on both teams. So honestly, it looks like, judging by that week, both teams have pretty well balanced scoring with the starters and their first guy off the bench.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's who decides to actually start hot and stay that way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But the one thing that I'm hanging my hat on now is scoring has a hard time going on the road, but defense you can take anywhere. So as long as we don't run into another Wisconsin that decides that they can shoot from half court and make 75% of them, okay, fine. You chalk that game up and it's like, get your damn car and go over and watch that game. Cheer for the Hawks. How many fans do they have?
Yeah, I've explained to Kelvin why I'm not going to these 2 games this week like I would like to, but I don't know how many fans they get. Gotta
think there's a lot of Iowans living in the LA area.
There is. There's a lot of us Iowans
now
out here.
This is a new thing for them to be able to go watch the Hawks. Maybe they'll show up and, it'll be a neutral floor instead of a home.
Yeah, let me see. I was looking to see if this sheet has it right here. They are averaging. Well, it doesn't give their average. Wait a minute. They're averaging 4,163 fans in the stands.
4,000?
4,163.
Holy crap.
That's for 11 home games this year. That's what they've got.
That's, Licklider almost did that.
Well, they're saying that their opponents have 11,939.
That's hard to believe. Really, playing a high school? I don't.
Yeah. So, I mean, who are they playing against that's not bringing the fans either?
But yeah, you're not getting any. I mean, but even Carver's empty. We still probably get 10.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That picture I blew up, and at the other end, there were empty seats from the bottom all the way to the top. And then I said something about, boy, Carver doesn't appear to be real full tonight. And somebody said, well, those are the student seats. Yeah. And I go, some of them are the student seats, but when you look all the way, the students don't go all the way to the top.
It's, there's a couple of sections over there that it's the students. Okay. Now, if it's an ESPN game, boom, they show up. And the other time, when they go out to pick a student out to do a layup and a half-court shot for $100 or whatever,
right?
It's like, all right, 20 of you, line up. 1, 2, 3, you're out, right? And send people out. It just, the students just have no interest in this game.
What is the deal? I wonder why that is.
Who knows?
The band shows up, don't they? Because they have to get credit.
Yeah, the band shows up. You don't count them as students.
Are they still giving away free pizzas if the students show up? Because when I was going to Licklider games, they were giving away free pizza to all the students.
They were free seats, everything. And it's like that. The fullest game this year was the Iowa State game. And that's because a quarter of the crowd was Iowa State fans.
Yep, you could hear them too. You could hear them I could remember them cheering loudly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is very
how embarrassing.
That is very embarrassing. I just, I can kind of see some of the early games where it's, pushover teams or something, but it's just, if it's a weekend game, they might get a few more there, but a late night Tuesday game, like that stupid Nebraska game, that was a fun game, but there was hardly anybody there.
Yeah, you'd be surprised that the Nebraska fans didn't travel for that game.
Well,
you would have thought they would have bought up tickets. I mean, Illinois, we all know from a fact that Illinois would not have hesitated to buy up those tickets.
Oh, crap. Well, yeah, we have to be careful with the Illinois fans. You get the Orange Crush section. I had them sit right behind me the first year I got tickets. Like the next 10 rows up, all in the middle of the thing, started yelling, and I turned around. They were all ripping their coats off with those stupid orange ugly things on, and it's like, oh, jeez. And then they kicked our butt.
I guess they got caught one year, and they canceled their tickets.
Yes. Well, they didn't cancel them. They didn't cancel them. what they did was they ordered the tickets as
Mm-hmm.
the Boys and Girls Club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? That's what they got. Well, and then they caught wind of that. Well, I know the guy that's the guy that runs the Boys and Girls Club. I saw him at the game. When I figured out that they did that, they called John Tersey and said, "Did you order these tickets?" And he said, "No." So they said, "They're yours now." So all of the Illinois guys paid to send our Boys and Girls Club from Cedar Rapids to the game. So
I hope they had fun.
oh, they were having a great time. They took it out on the floor at halftime and did the whole. Oh God, that was fun. That was just twice as fun.
That's fun. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we are talking about, USC. So I think we can win this game. I think we should win this game. I honestly believe we will. If we can just get the Hawkeye fans in Southern California to show up, I think I'll start working on it this weekend, finding me some Hawkeye club members in my area that would be willing to take me down, because I can't actually drive down to the game myself. And so I'm going to see what I can do. Well, wait a minute. I got to. Well, no. This game is tomorrow night. I'm in trouble. I got to find somebody tonight.
Get on there.
I'll buy tickets. I'll buy food, and they can use my car. So I've also bought the gas. I've done that before. They say, "Yeah, we'll use my car, so you don't have to use yours up." And
well, if we can get him to go to USC, then the next thing we got to do is work on him to go to Carver. Because honest to God, I bet you we lose 2 or 3 games every year that we would win if the people just pack that place.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawkeye fans show up big time at UCLA and USC this week, because honestly, we outnumber the UCLA fans at the football game.
Exactly.
That had to be embarrassing.
Got to do it.
It was black and gold wherever you saw. Unfortunately, we were sitting on the side, kind of must have been designated because we were sitting on the same side as the football team was. But we must have been designated as Hawkeye because that whole section was full of Hawkeyes. But right in the middle, about 3 rows in front of me, was a UCLA fan. Didn't stand up, didn't do anything while we were ahead. What was it, 10-0 at first? Yeah, didn't do nothing. Then we started coming back, and he wouldn't sit down. They started coming back, and he wouldn't sit down the rest of the game. He's yelling, throwing his beer around, getting drunker, and
yeah.
And it's just like, God dang it. I says, we need to score and shut him up. And then when we tied the game up at 17 apiece, I go, finally, he's going to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, go to the games, but damn it, don't leave empty seats. I think the students would figure out that you could buy a student ticket, come and sit in the $5,000 a year seats that are down next to the court, because hell, half of those are empty sometimes.
Oh, my grandson and I tried that one time.
Down, sit on the court.
Yeah, my grandson and I tried that one time. We just sat in our seats, and after the game started, we looked for seats that weren't being used, and we went and grabbed a couple of really good courtside seats. We were asked to move. Somebody caught us.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah.
It
was what it was.
Go buy some fake big ass diamonds or something, and wear all this jewelry, gold stuff, and look like you're worth $1 million, and then maybe they'll leave you alone.
Yeah. Well, then we went to another game, sat in the exact same area that you did again. Went to another game. It was against South Dakota. It was an NIT game that we were playing against the former Hawkeye was on that team at that time. And so before the game, my grandson didn't want to come with me. He was embarrassed, but I just went down on the court while they were warming up and went over and took some great pictures of the players and stuff. I think Jordan Bohannon was like a freshman or something at the time.
Yeah.
Who eventually became the old man grandpa of the team. But, but yeah, I was just walking around. Nobody stopped me. I just went up there. I mean, I had my big old camera and everything, I guess they thought I was official.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say about Carver that needs to be changed is the big wide gap between the court and the seats, both behind the baskets and on the non-player side. There's
Right.
too much of a gap there.
You want to know what the real problem is that
What's
when
that?
they built Carver, there was nothing in the concourse, right? All the food and stuff was recessed back into the wall. Game's over. You get up and walk out of there. Now they got the Hawk shop and ice cream thing and the whole thing. And I have to walk all the way around to go out the other door to get to the parking lot. And where the Hawk shop comes out, you can walk about 6 people wide instead of the 20 that you could back in the day. And it takes you forever. If you try to get around, there's just these giant bottlenecks all over the place.
When did they do that? I mean, I've been gone from Iowa for 6 years now.
Inch that up and inch that up ever since the thing's open. You know,
Okay.
gotta get more money.
I don't remember it being that far out, but you know, it could have been.
It's
got. I said it's been 6 years since I've been to a game.
Every year it's gotten worse. You got the Hawk shop coming out this way, then a display table coming out this way, and it's just they pile junk up right at the door, so you got to go around. Ah, man, it drives me nuts. That's because you don't notice when there's 8,000. You know, when the place is half full, all right, you can get around. But you actually like the Iowa State game. I take a half hour to walk from I wait for everybody to get out of the stands, and we just walk around the seats and pop up on the other side because there was twice as fast.
There was a game where my grandson and I went. We went to a lot of games together. We were at the entrance where if you go in, it's kind of an enclosed entrance once you get inside, and then there's an elevator there. Do you know where I'm talking?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently the players must park there and come in that way because several players came in and got in the elevator while we were in that. we were in between the outdoors and the doors to let us in. We hadn't got in yet.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have the guts to go over and ask for any pictures or signatures or anything like that.
They've got a wrestling building set up on the side of Carver now.
Which side of Carver is it? Because
right, that door that you went in was back here, so you had to walk past the door that we normally go in, and then the other side where they let people out on the CAN bus side. But in between those two, on what would that be? South, east side, south side? I don't know. It's kind of kinked around over there. But yeah, they built this wrestling practice center, everything.
And they can access it from Carver, but with a tunnel, right?
I think so. So.
Now, is that just a practice facility and they'll still wrestle in Carver, or can they?
They still wrestle
go and watch
Carver.
The game in the.
I think it's just a practice facility.
Okay,
but then they don't have to share all the other stuff that's in Carver, and they.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. They did have a wrestling room before that. I don't know where it was located.
But this is pretty. I haven't been inside, but on the outside it looks pretty nice.
Okay, for the amount of money they spent in doing that and everything they did to it, we need to take over national championship out of Penn State's hand and put it in ours.
Yeah. It used to be when there weren't that many schools that really wrestled much. You know, we kind of owned the whole thing, but now you got enough guys to go out and get jobs at other places and crap.
Well, when you look at it, you got Gable head coaches all over the place. The guy from Oklahoma State he's got millions of people out there coaching from when he did it, and
it's a bigger deal than it used to be. I mean, that's
I've always followed wrestling for so long. I don't do enough of it on my Facebook page like I should, so I kind of want to now that we're getting deep into the Big Ten and way they destroyed Wisconsin. I think it was this weekend or something.
Was that 45-0 or something? Correct.
Yeah,
I was like, was that football? No, that was wrestling.
I listened to a podcast today. I think Kelvin sent it to me, so he probably listened to it too, where they were debating on the 174 pounders. Like which one's going to end up with the the one that they'll eventually send to the Big Tens and the Nationals. Yeah. But between Gabe Arnold and Ferrari, I can't think of his first name right now. Yeah. Ferrari. But they're talking about the one guy saying, let's bring Ferrari because the upside for Gable is more. Yeah. So anyway, I think we did a pretty good show of this. I mean, I like how it came out. I mean, we had an hour. We've averaged about 22 viewers the whole time.
Okay.
I really appreciate you coming on here. Well, I want to do another one next week. I want to try to do one once a week where we talk about the past game and future games coming up, if you don't mind. We had the holidays and stuff mixed up, so we didn't get a whole lot done in between there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually gonna be well, I'm sticking around for the Gopher game on the 21st, but then I literally leave from that game to drive to Texas.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm gonna miss the Penn State game. So
all right, we'll work it out.
That one, I'm gonna be coming home and watch it on tape, be like everybody else.
Yeah. I will text you and we'll work it out. Maybe you take your laptop along and you can do it from wherever you're at in Texas.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
But
thank you everybody for watching. Yeah. Guys, I just want to point out we are part of the Villains Network. I should have run that. I didn't. I don't see the one I really want. There is a 10-second one, but I don't know if that's it or not. So I'm better safe than sorry. But anyway, we are part of the Villains Network. I want to thank you, Andrew. Andrew keeps me going. I'm sure he's very patient with me and all the technical issues I create. So anyway, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please to this podcast. You know, we got this one with Byron. We got the other one with Molly. We got the football show with right now it's currently Jason and Paul, and we'll bring in others as we see fit. So we just appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button, share it with all your buddies, and let's have a little fun this week. Go Hawks, take on USC and UCLA and send them packing. Oh, we'll pack as winners. All right, take care, everybody. We appreciate you watching.